So we are less than 24 hours away from the beta being released in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and as we know, we never really know when they're going to release it. It could come out in an hour, it could come out at the exact time that they say. Activision and Infinity Ward kind of just turn the servers live whenever they want to, it seems like. So I'm still waiting on that, but until then, I wanted to give you guys some tips as to how you can excel when the beta actually comes out. It's going to include good perks you can use, kill streaks, weapons, and just some overall strategy with this game. But before we dive into the tips, I just wanted to let you guys know that over on my second channel, I actually uploaded kind of like a little vlog about weight loss, about what I've been going through. So if you're at all interested in that, it'll be the first link down in the description. I'll also link it at the end of the video as well. But without further ado, let's talk about tips. So I've played this game a lot. I played it in May at the pre-reveal event. I played it in August at the reveal event. I played a ton in the alpha. So I have a lot of tips to give you guys as to what can really improve you when playing this game. So without further ado, let's dive into the tips. So first things first, we're going to start with the very basic, the menus. What are the best settings you can possibly use? So I'm not going to tell you exactly how to play the game. I play it on tactical, and as far as a sensitivity, I like to use a relatively high sensitivity. I use a 7/6 in this game, which is a 7 horizontal and 6 vertical. The reason why I use a little bit lower of a vertical is because players can't jump as high in this game, which means you don't need to aim up and down as fast as you do side to side. So that is why I use a higher horizontal sensitivity. Also in this game, there's a couple of graphical settings that I recommend changing right away. First of all, go in and take film grain off. This just makes your screen literally more blurry and grainy. You don't want it. It makes it more difficult to see. I don't know why they have it turned on right away. The second thing is motion blur and weapon blur. So when you move around, you may have noticed that things kind of blur together, and it makes it look a little bit more cinematic, but it also makes it harder to see. So turn those two off right away as well. It makes it look worse. Once again, I don't know why they have that as the immediate settings, but turn those off. It's going to help you see, help you play better, and that sensitivity, don't necessarily use my exact sensitivity, fiddle around with it and find something else that works. The other thing in this game is they have different types of aim assists. The one that I liked most in the alpha was experimental. I don't know why, it just worked better for me, so I stuck with that one. Try all of them, but I recommend starting off with experimental because that's the one that worked for me in the alpha. They also may have changed it going into the beta, but those are the settings that I use in the game. Now, as far as just basic strategy when playing a new Call of Duty game, the one thing that I try to do is when I play Team Deathmatch or any objective game mode, I stick to the outside of the map. What that does is it makes it so that enemies really struggle to flank you. When your back's to the back of the map, people can't be behind you, that plain and simple. Also, when learning new maps, especially in this game because there's no mini-map, what you're going to want to do is use personal radar and UAV. These two kill streaks are going to be quintessential for excelling at the beginning of this game because no one knows these maps going into them. So the only way to learn them is with a mini-map, and the only way to get that mini-map is by using the UAVs. So right away, just turn those on, get used to using them. They're going to be pretty easy to get at 2 and 3 kills, and then that way you can learn the maps. Once you learn the maps and know where you're going, know where enemies are going to be spawning, then you can turn those off and use some higher kill streaks, get some more kills with those. Weapons. So weapons are always important in these games, and I think throughout this weekend the weapon balance will change. And of course, whenever I upload videos, even if they're not about weapon balance, I'll kind of fill you guys in on what actually got updated that day. But as far as the weapon balance right now, based off of the 2v2 mode and based off of what I played before, there's a couple of weapons I think you should go for and a couple of weapons I think you should avoid. So first of all, the first one you should avoid, if they left it the same as the alpha, do not touch the M19 with a 10-foot pole. That thing is a pea shooter and it just will not kill anyone, especially against other weapons. At least in the alpha, you had to use it when the enemy was using it as well. Just, I don't recommend using it whatsoever. Any other pistol, especially the Deagle, I would much rather recommend. As far as actual weapons, though, you're going to want to go for weapons that feel familiar because those are what you're going to excel with. Of course, the thing I recommend in any game is just give things a try. Give different attachments a try, give different weapons a try, try a bunch of different things. You'll find what you like, but the weapons that kind of felt the best to me, try out the AK-47. It's always a good weapon in any Call of Duty game, and it's always relatively easy to use. My personal favorite weapon, I'm guessing it's not going to be unlockable right away, but will later in the beta, is the Odin. It's a slow-firing, high-damage assault rifle. If you switch it to semi-automatic mode, it absolutely shreds. I definitely recommend using that one whenever it's made made available. As far as SMGs, the best one that I saw was the AUG. This thing was like a mini assault rifle, shredded people at short range, and you could still pick people off at long range. One of the problems I found with SMGs in this game, they didn't have a lot of good range. The AUG did, so I definitely recommend using that one as well. Snipers are snipers, not much I can say about that, but the other class of weapon I definitely recommend trying is shotguns. Shotguns, generally speaking, are a difficult weapon to use in any Call of Duty because you got to be up close and personal, but based off of my experience, shotguns have really good range in this game, so I recommend giving those a shot. I'm guessing by halfway through the beta, they might end up getting nerfed because I think they're a little bit overpowered going into this. So those are the weapons that I would really look out for. Moving on to perks, what I'm going to do here is give you a perk out of every single class that I would recommend using and a reason for it. So perk 1, the first perk I recommend starting with is Tracker. And the reason why I say this is not because you can see footsteps, it's not because you can move faster while crouched, it's because when one of your teammates dies, a little red skull is going to pop up on screen and it's going to tell you where that they died. This is going to help you with your map awareness. It's going to show you where your teammates are dying and where you're going to want to avoid being or where you're going to want to look for enemies. This is going to help greatly at first because it's going to improve your map awareness. Once you get used to the maps and used to seeing where your teammates go, I don't recommend using this. I recommend switching over to Scavenger. Scavenger is going to help you go on more kill streaks, going to help you get ammo, but to start out, I definitely recommend Tracker. And your second perk, I hate to be this guy, this perk has been overpowered for years and years and years, but I recommend using Ghost, especially in the beta. Remember how I recommend using UAVs and personal UAVs? Well, everyone's going to be doing that, so I recommend using Ghost to counteract that. You don't show up on the UAV, it's harder for the enemies to see where you are, map awareness is going to be low because it's a beta, it's going to help you out very greatly. After the beta, this perk might change, there's some pretty good perk 2s in this game, but for the beta, I almost guarantee every single class that I'm going to be using is going to have Ghost on it. And then the perk 3, this one I don't think matters as much. I think there's some pretty weak perks in this slot, but that might change the more I play the game. But the one that I think I'm at least going to be starting with is High Alert. What this does is it kind of pings your screen whenever an enemy is looking at you and you are not looking at them. What this is going to do is once again improve that map awareness, which is so important in this game because there is no minimap. So whenever someone's looking at you, you're going to get alerted, you're going to be able to react to it, and that way you're just a little bit more aware whenever you're playing the game. Now, the great thing about everything I'm telling you right now is even if you don't like a perk, you don't like a weapon, you don't like an attachment, what's great is that you're able to change your class in-game. So say, for example, this is going to be overpowered, I'm telling you right now, and I bet you that they're going to nerf this. An enemy calls in a really high kill streak, a gunship, a chopper gunner, something like that. You can just go in your classes, switch one of your perks to cold-blooded, and boom, all of a sudden the enemy can't see you. So if enemies call in kill streaks, just switch one of your perks to cold-blooded, and then immediately you're going to be immune or at least hidden from that kill streak. Once again, I'm guessing that they're going to have to nerf being able to do that, because if they can do that, kill streaks are going to be basically pointless. Now, as far as attachments, there are a lot of attachments in this game, a ton of them. For every weapon, there's between 30 and 60, which means I don't know what attachments are best yet. But the advice that I can give you is each attachment in this game has a positive and a negative. It does one good thing and one bad thing. Sometimes it does more than one, in fact. So really pay attention to the attachments, read what they do, and decide which attachments you can use together to make the weapon better. For example, if one attachment decreases recoil horizontally and another attachment decreases recoil vertically, use those two together and have way better recoil altogether. Also pay attention to that weapon's recoil pattern. If it has a lot of vertical recoil and not a lot of horizontal, just use an attachment that reduces vertical recoil. Up next, equipment. Equipment is going to be hugely important, specifically one piece of equipment. A lot of people are going to be using grenades, but what I recommend using is stim. So there is no manual healing in this game unless you use stim. Stim is a piece of equipment you can use once per life, and what it does is immediately heals you back to full health. This is going to be incredibly important, especially for aggressive players, but like I said, you got to use it smart because you can only use it once per life. But in my opinion, this is going to be the best piece of equipment. Now, the last thing is a field upgrade. So field upgrades are like specialist abilities, but weak specialist abilities. In my opinion, the best specialist ability, aka field upgrade, is going to be stopping power. So essentially Basically what stopping power rounds do is make it so that you have one magazine of bullets that do extra damage. In other words, instead of being a 4 bullet kill on someone, it'll be a 3 bullet kill. 5 bullet kill, 4 bullet kill. You get what I'm talking about. This, in my opinion, is by far the best field upgrade, so I recommend using this one. So the last tip I'm going to give you has to do with just the gameplay in general. The time to kill in this game is much faster than Black Ops 4, which means you die quicker, but you also kill quicker. But it also means you have to play the game a little bit differently. You have to play it a little bit more like an old school Call of Duty game. You have to pay attention to when you're sprinting and stop sprinting when you think there's an enemy around you. This is going to give you a faster aim down sights and sprint out time, which then you can kill people faster. There's also an ability that's double sprinting or super sprinting. It allows you to run even faster, but is going to make that sprint out and aim down sights even slower. You gotta be careful about when you do that. Also, in this type of game, head glitches are incredibly important. If you don't know what a head glitch is, basically, the way that you shoot in Call of Duty is not out of your weapon, it's out of your head. I know that sounds ridiculous, but what this allows you to do is it allows you to go into a head glitch where only your head is showing and you are still able to shoot enemies. What this does is give them a very small target to shoot at, but you'll have a bigger target to shoot at. So the way you want to navigate a map is going from head cover to get that advantage over your enemies. And that's pretty much it. Those are all of the tips I can give you going into this beta to make you as good as possible on day one. Really, the best thing I can say though is just have fun playing this. I know it sounds really lame, but this beta is a limited time only, and you want to get as much experience with the game as before it releases as possible. You want to understand what guns are good, what guns are bad, what attachments are good, what attachments are bad. So the best advice I can give for that is use as many things as possible, level up as much weapons as possible, and just try all the kill streaks, all the weapons, all of the attachments, all of the perks, and get a good judgment of the game for yourself. That way at launch, you're really prepared. That is really the best advice I can give for a beta, and hopefully it launches soon. I am super excited, guys. I can't wait till this thing launches. I can't wait to bring you guys more videos, stream this thing for you guys. I am just so excited all around. So as always, if you enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure you subscribe, make sure you have notifications on. We have so much Modern Warfare content coming. And as always, guys, let me know what you're thinking of the beta down in the comments below. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.